wish come true like a genie. Holding up a glass in the club too steamy. Not a racehorse, you a black Lamborghini. Some people might think you're sleazy. You're so fine, so you're making look easy. So much you can make a man greedy. So don't stop, go ahead and get freaky. You got me wanting to be with you. So sexy, I don't know what to do. Your curves are making my dreams come true. The way I should be taboo. Just another move like a bro, girl, it ain't no hobby. Looking so good, gotta tell somebody. Blows my mind when I see a hot body. A hot body. Makes me wanna fall in love. Makes me wanna fall in love. Don't stop now, just get money. Move like a bro, girl, it ain't no hobby. Looking so good, gotta tell somebody. Blows my mind when I see a hot body. A hot body. Makes me wanna fall in love. A hot body.
Hello everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. I know. It's 3:30 in the morning. What the hell am I doing up, right? That's a question I'm asking myself. What am I doing awake? Why am I awake? Well, I don't know. So, instead of just lying in bed doing nothing and getting frustrated about it, I figured I would throw some things together for a stream and get those viewing hours up, get some people in here, hopefully get some chatting going on, watch some videos, see how long I can go for videos, and if I watch all the videos and I'm still not tired, then we'll do some gaming. Now, I did ask some of my blind friends about the Last of Us thing that I'm stuck on, and they did say that they did need sighted assistance to get to the door to help her hold it. So I'm gonna have Pink Hollow help me with that, which sucks, but hey, that's okay. There was I think one monster that I needed help with in the main story. So that's okay. Hello, Cannibalistic Wizard. Glad to see you in chat. I don't know what we're gonna do. I have some videos pulled up, but I don't know how long we're gonna stream for. What's going on? The reason I've been pushing the PayPal link so hard is because our van broke, and the van is basically the livelihood, right? So oh, excuse me. So basically that's why I've been pushing that so hard and why I've been streaming so much. So that's basically it. But yeah, what else am I going to talk about? The Last of Us thing. Conan the Barbarian releases on January 21st for Mortal Kombat 1. That's exciting. And we gotta look at some gameplay too, which was cool. I'm also in the market for a Braille display. I'm eligible for funding for a Braille display, which means if I get one of those, I'll be able to use my computer without voiceover. And what would be cool is if I could do things like screen share and stuff with the Braille display. That would be a really cool thing to try to do. So I'm in the market for a Braille display. In fact, let's Google what is the latest Braille display. Holy shit. Sorry about all the coughing. Let's look at this. I haven't looked at Braille displays in a while. The Brilliant BI40X for $43.99. That is $4,399 from Humanware directly. The new B Note Braille display. Interesting. The new B Note Braille display. What is that? What is a B Note? I just want to read about it. That's all I want. B Note Braille display. So let's pull it up. Let me show the screen. This is what it looks like. That's actually not bad. $3,700. Number of cells. How many cells does it? 20? Oh, that's a small braille display. I don't know if I like that. Oh, can I choose? I can choose 40. How much does that change? $49.40. No, I don't think I need that. What is that? Okay, so you can type on it. The new B-Note Braille display is the result of more than 40 years of design and technological innovation. Okay. Oh! It's a note taker that also is a Bluetooth braille display. Okay. Screen reader compatibility works with all major screen readers and operating systems. Cursor routing keys plus keys permission. Okay. Cool. $15-hour battery. That's not bad. Ooh, configurable control keys. Oh, Asus Suite. Okay. So I don't need that. So that's one option. That's one option. That's kind of cool. I will say, that is kind of interesting. Then there's the sponsored ad at the very top for the Humanware Brilliant. How much does refreshable braille displays cost? A lot. The Focus refreshable Focus. There's the Focus 40. So the Oh, that's a new video.
Have you been thinking about getting a braille display but
Yes.
don't know which one to choose?
Yes.
Well, my student Q has the same problem. Today, we'll be working with Q to help him decide which braille display is right for him. That's right here today on Tech Tip Tuesday.
Yeah, because I need a braille display that I can Bluetooth to my computer. I don't need a note taker.
So when it comes to picking a braille display, there are two main categories that we should be thinking about. Those categories are the size and the keyboard style.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I'll go with him on that. That's definitely true. The size and the
We're
keyboard
going to dive
style.
a little further into each of those categories and talk about how each one can make your decision a little easier.
Sounds good to me.
Chapter title: The size.
Okay,
first
that's cool. How did he do that?
Category we're going to talk about is the size of your display. Braille displays come in a huge variety of sizes. Some are tiny, and they come in 14 cells.
Yeah, I don't want that. Those are like the teeny tiny ones you can fit in your purse.
And some are massive and come in 80 cells.
I don't want that
That's
either.
a big difference, so it's important to know which one you're going to prefer. The size of the display will depend on where and how you'll be using it.
I want a 40 cell because I'll mostly be using it in my office.
Will you be on the go frequently? If so, you might choose one of those smaller displays, one with 14 or 20 cells. A braille display of that size is usually small enough to toss in your backpack and can easily fit in your lap.
What if you aren't on the go as much?
Well, if that's the case, Q, you might want a larger display, maybe something with 32 or 40 cells.
32?
For example,
What a
this
weird number.
Brilliant BI40X has 40 cells of braille. Another example is the APH Mantis Q40.
Oh, cool. I noticed that the number of cells is usually part of the name of the display. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah, isn't that cool, right? The Mantis Q40 has 40 cells of braille.
Focus
The Chameleon
40,
20 has 20
Brilliant
cells of...
20. Yeah, that's true. That is something I've noticed in braille displays.
Yeah,
It was like that with note takers too. With my braille light, I had what was called a braille light 40, and that was a refreshable note taking braille display like the B note, except you couldn't Bluetooth anything to it.
And it makes it really easy to remember how many cells each one has, so you know when you're deciding.
By the
but
way, is the screen
there are
shared?
just so many to choose from. How would I even pick?
Yeah, it's true. There are a lot of options, and it makes it
I see
difficult
a
to
couple
figure out
people
which
in
size
chat.
of braille
Is the
display
screen
might be
shared
best.
properly?
But I want you to think back to our last module when we were talking about when in your day you'd be using your braille display. Would you be using your braille display just at school, or would you be taking it home and using it for homework? Do you have enough desk or bag space? All of these questions might help you identify if a smaller braille display is going to be best or a larger one.
Well, I plan to use mine in English class, and I do have a lot of desk space in that class, and I think it would be pretty hard to read just 20 cells at a time.
Yeah.
That's pretty small.
Yeah, 20 cells of braille is kind of small. Those smaller braille displays are good if you want to take a quick note or maybe send a text.
Yeah, I guess in my case the larger ones would be better.
Yeah, that's okay, Q. We're not done yet.
Chapter title: The keyboard.
The second thing we need to talk about is the style of keyboard. Now there's two options here. You can either have a display with a QWERTY keyboard or one
Ooh.
with a Perkins keyboard.
A QWERTY keyboard braille display. Cool.
This is really important because the type of keyboard you use will impact how you interact with the braille display and your computer.
That's true.
Q, have you ever seen a QWERTY keyboard before?
I think so. It's just like a regular computer keyboard, right?
Exactly. This is the type of keyboard that comes with your standard desktop or
Yeah.
laptop computer. It gets its name from the first row of letters. The first letters
Yes,
are
we
Q40 is one of the only braille displays that has. Now the APH Mantis Q40 is one of the only braille displays that has a QWERTY keyboard. So that's
Okay.
important to remember.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's why it has the Q in the name. Isn't that clever? I figured that out all by myself.
I use a keyboard like that all the time.
Yeah, that's great, Q. So maybe a QWERTY keyboard is a good thing to consider. Now the second option is a Perkins style keyboard. You've probably used a Perkins keyboard if you've used a Perkins Brailler.
Yeah. Now a Perkins Brailler is that big old clunky. I've shown it on stream before. It's a big clunky typewriter machine that you roll pieces of braille paper into and punch the dots on with 6 keys. And that's what a Perkins style keyboard is.
There's 6 keys in the middle that represent the 6 braille dots. There's a backspace, an enter, and a space bar, just like your Brailler. Now the important thing to remember about your Perkins style keyboards is that there are other buttons and keys that you might need to learn as well. Those additional keys might serve as modifier or function keys for your computer. But there are 2 things to remember about your Perkins keyboards. The first is you do not need to learn all those extra keys. You could just reach up and use your computer's keyboard.
Yep.
And the second thing is, if you choose a Perkins style keyboard, you will be mainly typing in Braille.
Yes. Which part of me wants to get back into typing Braille because that would, I think, help me with spelling. Good morning, Fury Kitten. How are you doing? Just having a cup of tea after breakfast. I am having an insomnia stream because I cannot sleep. And it's very fucking annoying.
There are tons of Braille displays that come with Perkins keyboards, like the Brilliant series from Humanware.
So basically the choice comes down to whether we prefer to use a QWERTY or a Perkins keyboard. How do we know which one to choose?
It comes down to, what are you most comfortable with? Do you want to type on a QWERTY keyboard, or do you want to type in Braille on a Perkins style keyboard?
Now, that's the big thing I'm gonna want to think about is, do I want to type in Braille because that might help me remember how to spell shit, or do I want to continue with a QWERTY keyboard? That's the choice I have, which is something I need to think about. So that was a very helpful video, and it broke it down very succinctly. I was very happy with that. So Sensitive Society brought out this video that caught my attention called "I'm Sorry, Give Me Money." And it seems like it's about a live performer. And so let's see what we can do with this. Hopefully the screen is sharing properly. So if somebody wants to let me know in chat if you guys can see the video. Oh, it's Doolittle.
Doolittle, you gotta chill out, alright? My girl is on the app. Kidding. I don't have a girl. But if I were to have one, I wouldn't want her to be on YouTube because, this guy's gonna steal all of our girls. Our imaginary girls even. So watch out, guys. Be careful when you watch this video. If you would have told me a few days ago that I was going to make 3 videos about the legendary Jake Doolittle, I would have been like, you're crazy. I have a life. Well, that's a lie. I would have been like, no. I mean, this wholesome, cute little YouTuber will never mess up, right? Or do something stupid. Life is unpredictable like that. And the reason why I'm making this one is not to milk the situation, even though I'm a professional milker. A few hours ago, he decided to drop this video called Addressing Everything.
Okay, so I have no idea what's going on with this Jake Doolittle situation. A group of us made a Braille printer with Dymo raised label tape and with the press and a pin impressor as the control technology. It was very noisy. Yes, Braille printers are incredibly noisy. They are so fucking loud. It's insane.
And I want to hear him out. I want to listen to him. I want to see what he has to say. So with that said, subscribe to
they will shake the desk they're on, those things. The Braille printers are just super loud.
I will blackmail you.
My last video sucked, and the following live stream of me in the hospital trying to see what my audience thought of the video and if everybody hated me was also a really stupid fucking decision. I want it to be known that that live stream was not a response to the videos made. At the time, there was one video made about me, and I went live against my fiance's wishes. She was texting me the entire time telling me to get off live, but I thought,
oh, lovely. I've been there. I'm not gonna lie. I've been there. No screen? Okay, then I will put it to solo cam. because there's no videos that really require your vision. So
That I could explain what was going on while in the ER, in a lot of pain, and dealing with insurance shit.
I'm not gonna claim to be the smartest YouTuber out there, far from it. And even I could tell you that
There's
live
Mudahar.
streaming while you're in the hospital, while you're waiting to get whatever
Or no, there's
exam
Sensitive
results,
Society
and on
again.
top of the stress of being called out and dropping a horrible video that everyone's talking about, do you not see how this is a recipe for disaster? The only way this could have gotten worse is if he was doing all of this while drinking and driving at 150 miles per hour. I'm glad to hear that he knows that he messed up. He made 2 dumb videos. Not really, not 2. It was like 5 or 6, but who's counting? Probably 6, just for the record. But I'm glad he came to the realization that those 2 videos were absolutely horrible. I usually have a
did he take them down at least? Did he at least take them down? Because that would be a bad thing if he
hard time
didn't.
falling asleep, but oh man, let me tell you, when I put a Jake Doolittle video in the background, I pass out just like that. It doesn't even give me time to get comfortable in my multi-billion-dollar bed. Taking accountability, realizing you were dumb, you were a goofball, you were kind of off. It's all about how you bounce back. And so far, so good.
First of all, going live and trying to talk about that kind of stuff was really dumb. Also, being in pain, not in a good mental state, and in the middle of talking to nurses, also very dumb.
Yeah, never go live while you're trying to be in the emergency room. That's never like that's never a good thing. That's you don't ever want to try to be running a live stream while you're trying to also tell the nurses what's wrong with you.
Not only did I go live thinking that I could clear everything up in the span of 20 minutes while waiting for results from knee scan.
Did someone say knee surgery?
And in reality, while in the hospital live streaming and getting results like that, it only made things worse.
Yes.
So this, I guess, is my response to everything that's been said.
So far, so good. As a matter of fact, I almost want to start clapping. You know, I'm gonna do it. I mean, this is Jake Doolittle. I gotta do it. I'm up. Round of applause to Doolittle for owning up to it. It's
We're only 3 minutes into a 16-minute video.
crazy how fucking Jake Doolittle. I love his name, by the way. That's why I keep saying it. It's just so cute and adorable. You know, like I just want to, give him a big hug, maybe kiss his forehead. I respect him a lot more than Ethan is online. Ethan is online would never do this, and if he does, that's the day I officially quit YouTube. The second he admits.
Are you guys okay with just the audio and me on solo cam?
To being an idiot and wrong. At least Jake, which is the bare minimum, but who's really counting here? At least Jake is taking accountability for his actions. I almost want to donate $100,000 to his charity. Jake is really hitting a soft spot right now that I had no idea existed within me.
The video that I posted, I was very upset recording that. The attitude and the tone, everything was bad. I came across as annoying and entitled, and prior to recording that day, I had been dealing with one of the first big major health scares that I've had in the last 3 to 4 years. Since I've started YouTube, my health has been somewhat okay. I've only had 1 or 2 surgeries in the last 3 to 4 years, whereas prior to that, there was a lot more and a lot more doctor appointments.
That's scary and stressful. And I do understand that I do understand the stress of all of that, but maybe not record while you're stressed.
And I felt much worse. I recorded that video with no notes or preparation. It was 45 minutes as a raw file, and I sent that off to be edited in a thumbnail. It came back as 15 minutes, and I dragged and dropped it into YouTube Studio, attached the thumbnail, and said, fuck.
I've had an editor a few months ago, right? Just someone to help me out when I couldn't upload, when I was traveling, when I was busy, when I was doing real life stuff, right? Yeah. And this should be common sense that every video you get back, you should at least watch it on 2 times speed to make sure everything is good. You know what I mean?
Would just watch it before you upload it. Like, whenever Pinkalo edits a video of mine, he's like, come here and watch the finished product. before it gets uploaded, you know, because it's important to see what happened.
I mean, that's what I did, because maybe he cut out something that's important by accident or context or something that I didn't like. Already a huge L on Mr. Doolittle's part. Second of all, like he said publicly, he's been struggling financially, and I'm not here to laugh at anyone's finances, but to me, if I was him and I was, you know, going through financial hard times, I would not have an editor. I would save that money. I'm assuming Jake is paying him, right? I would just save those $30, $40, $50, $60 that I'm giving the editor. I would not have an editor because that's money that could be going towards me, my knee surgery, or to buy more Shane Dawson cardboard cutouts. It just seems like a waste of money and something that you could do yourself to save some extra money. And I will not go on vacation like he went when he proposed to his girlfriend. You gotta be smart with your money, especially.
You don't need to go on vacation to propose. You can propose anywhere. You don't need to spend all that money to do that.
And then you don't have enough money, and on top of that, you have the whole never stop situation. And on top of that, your channel isn't doing so hard. From my point of view, and Mr. Doolittle, if you watch this, please feel free to correct me. From my point of view, you're not managing your money well. This is me being helpful for once and not just hating.
Came back as 15 minutes, and I dragged and dropped it into YouTube Studio, attached the thumbnail, and said fuck it, which was probably one of the worst choices I could have made. But I think that's kind of where my mind was.
Because that's 30 minutes he cut out, and there could have been context that you needed to have in there, and that you know, hey, go back and fix
for disability insurance, because since I'm self-employed, I don't meet the requirements of disability insurance, because it would be like trying to get coverage for a house in the middle of the ocean, trying to get like flooding insurance. That also added to my stress, because if I end up going through another period of time where I'm very sick, I don't have any sort of backup plan. I had no topics to talk about.
I mean, when you're out of topics, Mr. Doolittle, just go to the Sensitive Society channel and steal some. Just give me credit, right? I mean, you...
Okay, well, thank you, Sensitive Society, for presenting this topic to me. I had no idea this was going on.
You could have talked about Ben Shapiro. You could have talked about the most racist guy on YouTube. You could have talked about my best friend Nova online. There's an infinite amount of topics that you can talk about, especially in the community that he's a part of. I mean, I appreciate the honesty, because we've all been there when we were like, what the fuck do I upload?
Just watched a video of a YouTuber talking to the camera and ranting about like things that he was passionate about, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do that. And I'm upset and I'm scared and I'm frustrated with everything that's going on in my personal life.
Never record when you're upset. I've made that mistake before. Never record when you're discombobulated or upset and you have no like actual idea of what you want to say. It never ends well.
So who cares? Especially since it was a complete throwaway video. There's a lot of the stuff that I was saying in that I still stand by, where, you know, I want never stop to work. Like, all the basics of it are still very true. But then in my anger, I would say things like, if after a month nobody ends up donating, then I'm going to have to talk about the people who have declined to donate.
Oh, no, don't do that. Donating is never a requirement. Like, it's very, 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 very much appreciated, but it's never a requirement of anybody to watch. Like, especially right now with everything that's going on, with Christmas coming up and the van being broken, like, donating would be amazing, right? But it is by no means a requirement, and you should by no means shame anybody for not donating.
And that's fucking stupid. That was me trying to be like, this is how hard I'm trying to make things work. And in reality, it came across as, you know, I have a bunch of rich people who I know. Why don't they give my charity money? And we are only getting more and more applicants, and we don't have the finances to give out more money to more people. Also, because videos that I've been posting haven't been getting views, and I'm freaked about not being able to post or make
Next, you'll be telling me. Next, you'll be telling them never tweet or forward an email to an employer while shit-faced. Ah, yes, that would. That's always a grand idea, doing that.
Money if I have another health scare. I was like, it's something to post. It's not going to get views anyways, but I might make $100 off of it.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be laughing and, you know, pissing my pants. I guess my heart isn't made out of stone. I guess you could say I'm a little sensitive. And this is exactly why you should not make YouTube your job until you're financially stable. I'm talking you have at least $100,000 in your bank account. Well,
and that's kind of something that I fucked up. Like, my stream goals are $80 a day. That's my hard line stream goal. That's what I'll be pushing my PayPal link for. That's why the PayPal link is in the description. I don't know. I just put the straight PayPal link there. I don't know if it will come up for Streamlabs donations.
You know, it depends whether you rent or you live with parents or you have your own house and you work or you study. Like, of course, it varies. You gotta be smart. If you want to do YouTube full time, you know, I support that, but you gotta be smart. You gotta know when it's time. It feels like Jake Doolittle thought he was gonna blow up and that's how it was going to stay forever, and that is not the situation, especially on YouTube where things move so fucking fast. Why don't you get a job now? Do YouTube as a side hobby or lock the fuck in and upload every single day.
Yeah, that's my problem, is I need to upload every day as well as live stream every day. And I'm trying to come up with new topics to upload about, particularly like gaming topics, accessibility topics, stuff like that, because I have to make it worthwhile to make people want to send in donations. Right? You know what I mean?
Like most YouTubers did to blow up. As much as I want to destroy you and tear you apart and just make fun of you, I'm trying to be helpful
Temu
for
or
once.
Amazon shop. Yeah,
and this is how you know that I'm mature, when I'm acting like this. Nah, a few years ago, it would have been a whole different story. But Jake, that's my advice. Those are my tips. Take it or leave it. And if you cannot sustain yourself or your future wife, I think it's time you either go back to school or you get a job and you.
And this is why I have to lock in, because there's really, like, other than me, like there's really nowhere I can go just get a job, right?
Do YouTube as a hobby. I don't know. That's just my advice. Jake, I don't know if you're watching. Cannot live off $100 per video and you're only uploading 4. I don't know. I don't want to see you in the streets doing fentanyl with Ethan is online in a year or so.
I do not feel entitled to your money. Your money is your money. As somebody who's freaked about his own personal money, if there was somebody reaching out to me being like, hey, do you want to hear more about my nonprofit? I'd be like, well, I have to take care of myself first. Wild assumption to be like, you know, if anybody has extra money, like I've made a few videos with them, where else would they give their money? And that's fucking very, very dumb. I didn't want people to think like Jake has had Never Stop for the past year and a half. The number of applicants have only gone up, but the number of donations made has not. And I didn't want that to come across as me being content with what we're doing. Like
Okay, but you then made it sound like you're making it sound like you're just, all I want is money.
I want there to be more. It kind of just came across as like a crazed, like upset person who's not happy with his friends, his health, like really anything in life, and that's the worst.
Jake, here's what I would do. This is just turning into a life lesson. God damn, Jake. All right, here's what you gotta do. Never stop the applications, even if it's gonna kill you. You gotta stop that.
Yeah, you've gotta. This charity is obviously not working. You've got to stop
and
it.
Help the people you can, and only accept new people when you have the money ready. Stop accepting requests, help the ones you have, figure those out, and then open the request again. You are going to end up broke and in debt if you keep going like this.
And possibly accused of charity scamming, which you don't want that. You don't want to be accused of that.
It's not sustainable.
The reason why I ended up talking about how no influencer has donated to Never Stop is, out of all of those stories that I told of people not giving to Never Stop, one of those happened recently, and that's the one that spiraled me into a fucking tizzy. So
Nothing.
a YouTuber reached out to me and wanted to get on a call and wanted to hear more about my nonprofit, and we talked about like all this different stuff. I got my hopes up. Like, this was somebody who could change Never Stop, and kind of was saying things like, you know, I want to hear more about your nonprofit. Let's talk more about philanthropy. Let's do like, and so in my
This
head,
has
I was
gotta
like,
be
holy
Muda High.
shit, we are, I mean, this is amazing. And then that person stopped talking to me. I found these fucking niche little times that I've talked to other influencers and used that against them. And that was really fucking shitty. And I don't want to give too much detail about this situation, because this whole idea of threatening to say names was so fucking stupid in the first place that I don't want to now have this video be me releasing a name. But like, I built up in my
Well,
head over the
considering
span
that-
of a week different possibilities of working with this person and pitching things,
Considering
and they
that
had reached
I think it's Mudahar he's talking about. Cause didn't Mudahar make a video about this too?
out to me, and I know for a fact that I put too much like pressure on that whole situation.
Mr. Doolittle, please stop edging me and everyone else and just say the name. I need to know. This is like the biggest edging session of my whole
Yeah, who
fucking
is it?
life.
Is it
If I
Mudahar?
don't know who it is before I die, this is the last thing that's going to be on my mind before I pass away. Not my family, not what I've done, not my, fucking flashbacks. In my deathbed, all I'm going to be thinking about is who was the guy that was going to help Mr. Doolittle. All right, that's all I'm gonna be thinking about. So I need the answers, and I need them now.
It is all out of me just being frustrated that things aren't going as well as I'd like them to be. I'm not making enough money to really change anything with the outcome of Never Stop. And I started to find like situations where I was like, oh, well, that person I spoke to a few times and they didn't give me money, so I could use that to back up my claim and argument that people should give me money. And
This is starting to get repetitive and sad. I hope he gets to a point.
Apologize for making people feel pressured and like hinting at outing people who didn't fucking donate. Again, I've been taking notes for like 2 days trying to get everything in order, but now that I'm reading this back, everything's not in order. So I made 3 copyright strikes after that video. The only videos that I copyright striked were pure re-uploads to YouTube with no commentary over it. There's a lot of people who think that I have been copyright striking critical videos of me. I am completely okay with critical videos. I watch a lot of them and they hurt my feelings, but like a lot of it's valid criticism.
Okay, so he does have a right to copyright strike videos that are pure uploads that don't provide any commentary. That is allowed. I
wonder if he's seen my videos. Has he seen the certified hood classics that I've made? Video isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And in my eyes, this guy's already much better than Ethan is online, or Nake's Not Green, or Noah Samsung. I'm glad you're realizing how dumb and stupid you were for that video.
And even if I am not mentally prepared to deal with commentary videos about me, I'm not going to take any action against that because I make commentary videos. I understand that sucks.
that's a good comment, or a good what's the word I'm looking for? Perspective to take.
Only ended up tweeting this video here. That was a news story done when I was, Jesus Christ, like 15 or 16 years old. What the fuck?
We really got Jake Doolittle on the news before GTA 6. Yes, I will kill myself for that dumb joke. I mean, this guy does it all. He yaps, he blackmails. He sells sex toys. He is on the news. This guy just does it all. No wonder he's sick all the time. He's just on that grind. I mean, he's doing more than me. All I do is record, edit, play Fortnite, sleep, repeat. That's been the cycle for the last 5
Record, edit, play Fortnite, sleep, repeat.
years, guys. We got Jake Doolittle being on national television at 17. What was I doing at 17? Probably being a fucking loser.
Oh, for sure. I was being a fucking loser at 17, absolutely. I was absolutely a loser at 17. I'm a loser now. But, hey. Game Journal, IGN Game Journal's unemployed. AAA Gaming's darkest hour. This is another Clownfish TV video. And like I said, we're going to keep it on solo cam because screen share is not working. But you guys won't be missing much. So, or this isn't Clownfish TV. This is a different video.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm not here with Geeky in this video. We're going to talk about video games. We're going to talk about the layoffs in the video game industry. Things are getting pretty serious, guys. Things aren't going so well for most people in the video game industry, and also the support industry. I guess support industries, is that what it is? We're going to talk about gaming journos losing their jobs. We're going to talk about the future of the video game industry and course correction. I think that's what this is all about. I think it's all about course correction. But they better course correct pretty damn quick because there have been a lot of notable AAA misfires in the last year.
Very much so. Very much so. The amount of people or the amount of games that have just fallen flat.
A lot of people not trusting new games, whether they're coming from a major studio or they're independently developed. They're just not taking chances anymore, especially if it looks quote-unquote woke. If the game looks woke, the studio will go broke. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And we did a video yesterday talking about Hollywood and how they had to pivot away from the wokeness and the video game industry. It seems like it's taking a little longer for them to get that memo. I don't know what's going on here, but
because the game developers that are in charge of the AAA games and it's just it's ridiculous the amount of video game journalists that just aren't what was the point
for them to get that memo. I don't know what's going on here, but they better.
Like, why are they taking so much longer than Hollywood to course correct? I don't understand.
Pivot pretty damn quick because they're running out of time. They're running out of players. They're running out of customers.
Not working, guys. Sorry.
I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people in the video game industry have been laid off. Gaming journalists are getting laid off. I think the entire industry is getting reset. Is what I think is going on. I think we're hitting the reset button on the entire video game industry, and there will be room for talented developers. There will be room for talented and truthful gaming journalists and personalities covering the video game industry. But
and this is why I'm trying to talk more about gaming, because I love games and I want to be part of the accessibility discussion in gaming more than I am.
There's not going to be any room for a lot of the people that have worked in the industry 2014, 2016 through last year. Yeah, in those studios, they're going to be gone. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. This is coming from, let's see here. Aftermath, which is basically a bunch of unemployed gaming journos going out and starting their own site. I'll give them props for at least starting their own site, but
yeah, good for them. Good for them. But what are they bitching about for? What are they bitching about?
They have
They've
the inside
screwed
scoop
themselves
on
over.
more IGN and gamesindustry.biz people getting gone. So we'll go there first, and then we'll talk about the actual video game industry. Before we get into that, though, check out clownfishminus.com. Check out our merch. Join our plus minus club. And you
Oh no.
can get exclusive content over there. And also, if you go out to
What was it with
clownfishtv.locals.com, more of the same. We actually mirror that content over there if you prefer to support us over on Locals. So this comes from Aftermath. Nathan Grayson. I think he used to work for Kotaku or Polygon or one of those sites. I don't know. They all kind of blur together. And I think a lot of these sites are going to be gone. They're going to be gone next year because I think they're hanging on long enough to try to siphon as much of that Q4 ad revenue as they possibly can.
Probably.
Before their corporate owners just call it a day. That is my feeling on it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, IGN, GamesIndustry.biz, and Humble lose key staff to soft layoffs. Soft layoffs.
What is a soft
In late
layoff?
October, Ziff Davis made an offer to its staff. Organic revenue, read an email to employees, had declined by 10% since 2021. It could be a whole lot worse. Necessitating cuts. Like others in the industry, the company proposed a series of voluntary buyouts to those who may be ready to move on, explore new opportunities, or just take a break. In other words, layoffs,
Okay.
but employees get to choose whether to disembark the sinking ship now or potentially get thrown overboard later.
Okay, so they can choose to be like, "Hey, can I get off the ride now, please? This is bad. I don't want to be here." Or, "No, we're going to ride it out till we get laid off."
That's that. I would take the buyout personally. The end result, as we've seen, is the same. Publications lose key people, and those remaining wind up spread increasingly thin. It doesn't matter. It's a
Unfortunately, I have a great fear, and we're seeing a bit of it play out. But the aftermath of all this DEI push. The aftermath of all this DEI push. And the fallback from the accessibility and disabled gamers is toxic. They have the opinion that we are out to ruin the experience for everyone else, making it much less likely that we are heard when we speak about actual accessibility concerns. You're absolutely correct, Glitched Vision. That is spot on. That the not being heard when it comes to pointing out that certain things are not fully accessible or not accessible in the correct way. You're not heard, and you're pushed to the side, and it's very, very frustrating. And it is a pushback because of the DEI push, and it is sad and disheartening.
skeleton crew. They're keeping these websites online as long as they can, as cheaply as they can, until they pull the plug. You are manning a Kmart as
Kmart.
the inventory is disappearing from the shelves and not being
Journalistic
replaced,
Kmart.
or just another day at GameStop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, yeah, that's what it feels like for a lot of these places, right? They're working at GameStop. So Kat Bailey, who is IGN's news director, who previously ran the Gamer Network site, US Gamer. So yeah, they bought the Gamer Network. IGN bought it, and they shut a bunch of the websites down.
Oh, well, wow. Way to go, IGN. Way to shut everything down. Of course.
She announced her departure today. Additionally, Aftermath has learned that Simon Maxwell, CEO of Gamer Network, has also taken a buyout and will be leaving the company.
Smart.
They said, yeah, gaming-related properties that have been hit by Ziff's soft layoffs include IGN, GamesIndustry.biz, and Humble Bundle.
Oh, Humble Bundle that's where all the deals for Steam games and everything come from. I know Humble Bundle.
How is there anybody at Humble Bundle? Well, I know they had their own publisher and they shut that down too. In the former two cases, multiple employees have publicly announced their impending departures. Announcement time next week is my last week at IGN, said senior news editor Alex Stedman. As for what's next, I'm honestly not sure, but what's become abundantly clear to me is I really need a break. I'm beyond lucky to have been working consistently in entertainment journalism from the age of 20, but after 12 years largely in a news grind, I'm exhausted. And it's time to take a breather and consider my next moves. Alex, advice for you. This is coming from someone who started out like you at about 20. I started about 20 at a newspaper, and I wound up being a managing editor by the time I was 25, and I was burnt out. And yeah, it was 12, 16-hour days, constant grind for
that is
very little money.
Insane.
Relatively speaking. And it
12 to 16-hour days as a managing editor. Holy fuck.
GI Biz head Christopher Dring. I'm leaving GamesIndustry.biz at the end of the month. It's been quite the 8-year journey. I love the industry. I love business media, and I'll be back in 2025, although what that will look like has yet to be worked out. Podcast. Everybody's going to do a podcast.
Everybody's going to do a podcast.
Because websites are kind of like, is there any point?
Yeah.
These are veterans opposed to the more easily replaced up-and-comers. They're not alone. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's a sad thing about it. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't know these people. I have no idea who these people are. But, like, the internet doesn't discriminate.
No.
Unless you're Google.
The internet just doesn't give a fuck.
Google definitely discriminates. But, like, it doesn't matter if you've got 30 years doing something. You know, they flip the switch and you're not the new hotness anymore. You're done. You're done. The algorithm doesn't like you. You're done. It doesn't matter how long you've.
You know what, Fury? You're not wrong. Huh, typical. The more society expects of you, the less they want to give you in return. Yep. But Fury Kitten, I think you're right. Because even with Soul Calibur 4 and 5, the audio panning, like the 3D audio, was more noticeable than with Soul Calibur 6, for example.
Done it.
And obviously Soul Calibur 6
it is what it is. And a lot of these people, I'm going to be honest, they're not going to make the jump to video. They're not going to make the jump to podcasting. They're not going to make the jump to having their own social media platform. They were fine as long as they were part of a group.
Yes.
Right? But they don't have what it takes to do it on their own. Not everybody does.
No, it's true. That's very true. Not everybody can do it on their own.
And you can be a damn good editor. You could be a damn good, on-air talent or whatever, but you don't have the business acumen to be able to do it on your own. Or you don't have the lucky circumstances to do it on your own. A lot of people can move into a warm seat. Hell, if they put us on like Fox News or something, we'd probably do a lot better. But you know what I'm saying?
Could you
so
imagine
that like IGN
TV
was already built
News?
for
that
you.
That would be crazy.
And you just moved into the office and started making content, started writing articles. You didn't build it from the ground up. I have a lot more respect for. I mean, I'm not saying these people are bad. I want to be clear.
No.
But I have a lot more respect for people that actually built their own things from the ground up. That's just me. Here's another one. Industry veterans. Yeah. GI.biz, 3 staffers, including editor-in-chief James Batchelor, have announced that this is their final month, leaving one of the few influential trade publications in video games with a single full-time employee.
What?
Leaving one of the few influential trade publications in video games with only one single full-time employee.
That's insane. One employee left. That is nuts. All of these people are taking that buyout and leaving one person.
What the hell? A current
That's
IGN
nuts.
staff member who was granted anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss these matters publicly told Aftermath that while their site has not been decimated, at least 6 people have accepted buyouts. As for Humble, Exact numbers are unclear, but one current Ziff employee and one former Humble employee told Aftermath that a lot of Humble staff have taken buyouts.
Well, I don't blame them. If there was an option to take a buyout, why would you not take the buyout?
They're going to shut it down, aren't they?
Oh, for sure.
Because they had Humble Games, and they actually published some pretty good stuff. And a lot of these people are like SOL. They don't have a publisher now for their...
They published some good games, and they also had that... they had like the deals on actual big AAA titles, too.
I said, yeah, multiple game studios were left in a state of uncertainty. Remaining employees at Ziff-owned gaming properties aren't sure what the future holds. I think the big thing for me is they haven't really communicated plans as to how they're going to fulfill that work. We're just kind of at sea. Some of the folks leaving filled very essential roles. Management has also, as you've seen, fired 2 other folks in the last few weeks, laid off 3 others. And we've been on a hiring freeze. We're strained. Yeah, because they're not going to keep you.
No,
they're not going to keep it going. I don't know. This like, look, if you're getting rid of the editorial and you're getting rid of the management and you're getting rid of the people that make it go,
you're done. Like that's basically it for that corporation. If you're getting rid of everybody that makes it go, it's not.
That tells me there's no future. They're basically keeping the people they need to keep for now, to keep it running for now. And I expect, and I've talked about this before, I expect a lot of layoffs and a lot of sites to shutter come, once we start getting our Q4 earnings in. Because this is it. This is like between now and the end of the year, the end of October through the end of the year, that's when the bulk of the advertising spend is, and January and February drop off a cliff.
He would know. And that makes sense. So they want to milk that end of quarter money, and then they're going to shut everything down. That makes sense.
And if they're struggling to keep these sites online and to pay for themselves during Q4, they're completely fucked.
Yeah.
Next year. I'm going to be honest. They're beyond effed next year, and they're not going to do it. They're going to look for an exit strategy. They're either going to write the sites down, sell them off, consolidate them. Something. I think Polygon and Kotaku are going to be gone pretty soon. And we're looking at a new reality, right? I mean, as far as journalism goes.
And then there was that weird GameCube chainsaw release with 3 or 4. Oh! Oh, yeah! You're not wrong, Fury Kitten. The Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller for GameCube. Yeah, that was weird. I actually never got a chance to touch that. I heard about that controller, but I never got a chance to actually touch it. I've never seen it.
And social media. Personalities, individual people. And like I said, not everybody is cut out for that. Not everybody can build a platform. And, there are a lot of people that are fantastic writers, but you get them on camera and they just choke. Yeah. Like they're not likable or something. There's something going on here that you can't make that jump from being a print journalist to a podcast host or to what I'm saying? It takes a certain skill set to be able to do that.
There's writing and spoken is completely different. There are some days when there's a point that I can make better in a tweet post than I can in a video. And then there are other days that there's a point that I have to put in a video instead of a tweet post. It's very different.
People have done it, and some of these people probably will be able to do it, but it's hard. And I think a lot of these people are just this is the end of their journalism career. That's it. They're gonna have to find something else to do. So let's talk about more layoffs in the video game industry. Just the video game industry in general here. What's this one? This is ZeniMax Online Studios
Never heard of it.
is voting to unionize as the more layoffs at the
Unionized
game industry.
game
That's not a.
studios.
That's not a. I mean, I guess for self-preservation, if you can unionize and get a buyout, because we saw that a bunch of Ubisoft employees were
Yeah.
doing that.
That's true.
They said the gaming industry has faced a tidal wave of difficulties this year, the most pressing of which involved layoffs of thousands of workers from various positions. Microsoft made up 2,000 of the layoffs in January alone.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize Microsoft was responsible for that many
Suffering
layoffs.
of the workers in the industry was acknowledged during the Game Awards in 2024. We're going to get to that. But while the awards were being passed out, 461 members of ZeniMax Online Studios voted to unionize. Microsoft has recognized the union, marking a major win for workers' rights. By coming together and forming a union, we're able to take a powerful step toward ensuring a better future for ourselves and our families. Yeah, at Microsoft, but what about everybody else, you know?
Everybody else that doesn't have the money to do something like that is screwed.
And here's the thing, they have to buy you out.
Yeah.
If you're a union. So, I mean, I understand. Yeah, and I'm usually not one for unions, and I've people know my feelings on unions. I think they F over their members.
They
I
do.
think they strong arm businesses in some cases.
They do F over their members and strong arm businesses. They are not what they used to be. They probably never were the good thing that they were lauded as being. But
so bad that especially if it's a smaller business, they have to go out of business because the union demands are too much. To be sustainable. I literally know one of the newspapers, speaking of journalism, one of the newspapers I worked at, the owner sold the company rather than deal with the union because he's like, if I have to deal with the union, I'm going to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to deal with them, and they're not going to bully me, and that's, so to each his own, I guess. But in this case, if it looks like everybody's getting laid off and you have an opportunity to at least get some kind of insurance policy that if you do get gone, you have a few months of severance or something. I mean, you'd be stupid not to take it.
Yeah, you would. If there is an opportunity for you to be given a severance package, take that opportunity.
And if it's a company like Microsoft, they got deep pockets.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my feeling on it. I think you'd be dumb not to take it. But I think in some cases, though, in a lot of cases, it actually hastens your demise because it puts a target on you. It's like, oh, these union employees cost a hell of a lot more. So, we got to think about this. But they said, yeah, the unionization is just one more in a growing number of studios that have formed unions. Sega.
One thing that these articles aren't mentioning. Oh, they're cutting DEI hires. Interesting. ZeniMax is the parent of Bethesda and Arcade Studios and some others. Oh, got it.
Unionized in March of 2023, while a huge number of World of Warcraft staff created a union during the summer. In July, Bethesda also fully unionized. Unfortunately, layoffs are still a very real threat. It doesn't protect you from a layoff.
No.
You can still get laid off, right? You can still get laid off very easily, but they have to give you more when they lay you off. They can't just haul you in the office and say, hey, you're done.
Yeah, if you're unionized and they lay you off, then you get a little bit of extra stuff, but it's still you still get laid off.
Paycheck. See ya. Usually, you have more of a buyout. And I've been there too. I got laid off. God, it's been about 15 years. I want to say 15 years ago. And it hit me. I wasn't really blindsided because I had access to the financials for the company. I'm like, yeah, we're not doing so good. But I was shocked at how poorly they treated people when they got rid of us. Let's just put it that way. It was like, yeah, you're just done. Like now you're just done. Like, so let me get this straight. I have to give you a 2 weeks notice, but you don't have to give me a 2 weeks notice. I had no knowledge that I was.
Yeah, a lot of the layoffs are not code rats. They're artistic talent, developer talent, And a lot of talentless waste of oxygen. That's a good point.
Even on the chopping block, you just, told me I had...
because the artistic talent and the game developer talent are dropping the ball and making ugly, unplayable games.
And me and some of my peers in this particular division. And yeah, that was it. It was just, yep, see ya. That's it. That's all you get. I'm like, wow. And it was right before Thanksgiving too. I'm like, well, yeah, happy holidays, bitch. Anyway, so I know how it works, right? So let's talk about these layoffs. I mean, people are getting so depressed by it. This is coming from August in the gamer. They're like, why bother even making video games anymore? Well, make good ones.
Make good ones. Yeah, make good ones. And people will pay for them. And then you'll not have a job. Or have a job. You won't be laid off. If you make good, playable, fun, not ugly video games, then you'll be fine.
You make good ones, they sell, but the problem is that gamers are jaded, right?
Yep.
So we'll talk about this. This is video game bosses gather at the darkest hour for the industry.
The darkest hour.
The darkest hour.
What is this? A fucking Lord of the Rings movie for video games? The hour is darkest before the dawn. We must light the beacons of the 5 studios.
I would say this is a consumer revolt.
It is.
I would say that's what's actually going on here. I think that consumers are withholding their money. It's not because of Gamergate.
I think we're seeing a case of too many cooks in the kitchen, and less is more approach paying off in spades. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure, glitched vision.
Or any of that
for
crap.
Sure.
I think it's just studios are putting out subpar product or a product that doesn't resonate with gamers, and they're spending way, way, way too much money to do it.
Ooh, back cracky.
Hundreds of millions of dollars on games like Concord and Suicide Squad. Like nobody's gonna buy this shit.
No, because Suicide Squad was terrible, and so was Concord. Everybody knows that.
Hollywood's doing the same stuff, and they're course correcting now. And I think the gaming industry is going to have to course correct. So this is coming from TechExplore.com. The movers and shakers of the video game industry will gather Thursday in LA to celebrate the annual Game Awards, the sector's equivalent of the Oscars. And that was a whole thing. I didn't even bother covering it because I don't really care. But we're gonna pull up a clip from the head of Larian, who had a spiel about layoffs in the industry. And he's like, I think things are going to get better. And I'm with him. I think this is a necessary culling of people, projects, and studios that will not be part of the next phase of the gaming industry. Just like
that will not produce good, playable video games. I'd say this is a culling. And it's a necessary one.
Journalists, right? I mean, it sucks when it's you. I get that. But things evolve, things change, and sometimes you're a part of the next phase, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes this is where your story ends. This is where your career in this particular field ends. And
you're probably right about the talented developers being coerced by consultants and HR. You're probably very spot on there about that.
It doesn't mean your life is over. It doesn't mean you can't go do something else.
No.
It doesn't mean that if you're a failed painter, you can't go do things and get in the history books. No, that's probably bad. That's probably a bad.
Oh, fucking Neon! No.
I was actually thinking. No, I was thinking of who you're thinking. I was thinking of. I was actually thinking Ronald Reagan too. Like Ronald Reagan was mad he didn't get a job at a paint store or something, and he wound up being an actor instead. So sometimes a door closes, another one opens. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's funny.
So the game industry continues to be incredibly bleak behind the scenes, says Mike Bithell, who heads a small British studio, posted on Blue Sky. Of course it was on Blue Sky.
Of course it was.
The ecosystem is in free fall. Doubt there will be an easy solution or a quick one. This darkest hour has dragged out to a darkest couple of years.
Oh my God. What the fuck is this? This darkest hour has dragged out to this darkest couple of years. This really is a Lord of the Rings for video games.
At least 14,500 people in the sector were laid off worldwide in 2024, up from 10,500 in 2023. So we're talking
big
25,000 people gone, just gone. That's a lot of people. It used to only take like 5 or 6 people to make a game. And now there's like 500 people making every damn game.
Whatever remain are probably broken. Whatever remain are probably broken or converted zealot now and have alienated their developer friends because they wanted to be part of the in crowd. Yep. It's true. Talented people don't like to play well with others. They just don't.
Many studios have also closed their doors. In recent months, French giant Ubisoft announced it's going to close its San Francisco and Osaka branches. Firewalk is gone. Behind this year's spectacular flop, Concord met a similar fate, yet the market is still growing and generated $188 billion in revenue in 2024, according to Newzoo analyst firm.
Video games
old games. Games that have a huge player base, DLC, Robux, V-Bucks. That's what the kids are spending their money on now. They're not buying the new AAA titles.
No.
The problem is further up the chain, they said. Studios and publishers are struggling to raise funds as investors flock to sectors they view as more profitable, like AI.
Yes, because AI is, right now, is more profitable.
Well, when you churn out a $200 to $400 million flop, why the hell would they give you money?
More money. Yeah, they're not going to give you more money if you keep burning their money on horrible video games. It's just not going to happen. They don't want to keep investing their money with that shit.
As a result, the big fish in the sector are looking to diversify. Nintendo had a success with the Mario movie. Others are pushing for small screen audiences for like Fallout or Secret Level.
Yep.
Let's see here. The industry has had its share of surefire winners. Call of Duty, Fortnite, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto are still big winners for publishers. It's difficult for new games to break into what is a very established marketplace. But yet, Pal World was able to do it.
Pal World did it like a fucking boss. As he is a British dev, he's probably referencing Winston Churchill. That's true.
Helldivers was able to do it. Black Myth Wukong was able to do it.
Creatives tend to get wild ideas and won't be shaken. Yep.
Stellar Blade was able to do it.
Stellar Blade
I'm just
did
saying.
it. Yep.
We need to reword that a little bit. It's very difficult for new woke games.
Yeah. New games that are woke and bullshit. It's very difficult for them to get into.
Break into what is a very established marketplace. Actually, I am going to say that things have never been better for people that want to roll the clock back and want to do more traditional games. Because gamers are hungry for that. Again, Hollywood has learned this lesson already, and they're starting to pivot. It's easier to pivot when it's movies and TV than it is for video games. It takes significantly longer to develop in a lot of cases. But the market's wide open. Just give people good, unwoke games.
Yeah. That's all you have to do. That's just make the games good and not political and not full of bullshit.
Preferably that are complete at launch.
Yes.
That's all you have to do.
A complete, playable, non-woke video game.
That's all you have to do. Conventionally attractive heroes, addictive gameplay, make sure it's polished. Sometimes you don't have to reinvent cuisine. Sometimes you just have to cook a steak very well.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. It's not rocket science. It really is not rocket science. But time and time again, we've seen these entertainment companies be like, yeah, hey, we have hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars to play with. Let's do the stupidest, most commercially unviable, dog shittiest game we possibly can do. Oh my God, people hated it.
they're racist and bigots and horrible people, and how dare they hate this game that is broken at launch and doesn't work and has ugly heroes.
People hate it, but we called them bigots.
Yeah.
And we called them Nazis. Why didn't they give us their money? I don't understand. This is so hard. It's all the gamers' fault. It's all the gamers' fault. No, actually, gamers, they'll line up. They'll give you their money if it's something they want to play.
Yep.
We've seen it. Yeah, I said China's taking the lead because China is still giving people what they want.
That's crazy. And if China is the one that's doing the good stuff, that's nuts. That is, wake up, people.
You know, look at Marvel Rivals. Look at Hell
Is
Genshin.
Marvel
Look at,
Rivals
again,
accessible?
Black Myth. Like,
That's one thing I should look up.
China is giving players what they want. Western video game industry is in a really shitty place right now. So
I'd
this is
play
the
Marvel
head of
Rivals if it
Larian,
was accessible.
and he had this speech. I know Squid King was telling me about it. He's like, it's actually pretty epic. You need to listen to this guy. So we're going to listen to, I think it's Sven Vink or Vinky. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he really went on a tear, and he said things are going to get better though. And he is right in that regard. Things are going to get better because Western AAA gaming studios are going to have to get better. They're going to have to make better
Yes, they
games
are.
that people actually want. It's not hard. It really is.
No, it's not. It's not. And they've done it. They've done it. You'll probably call me a conspiracy theorist here, but look who was funding all the DI. It was Chinese investors along with BlackRock. And now look at Chinese games. No DEI in sight. Hey, you know what? That you might not be wrong there, Glitched Vision.
Isn't that hard? Okay, let's listen to him here.
Hours, but I still have some time credits from last year to cash in. So it turns out that not only will I be the one who will know as first which game wins tonight, but I actually also know which game is going to win next year, the year after, and the year after. Now, how do I know this? Well, an oracle told me. She said, change is coming.
Change is coming.
It's a modern oracle, so they made me sign an NDA, but I trust all of you. I know you can keep a secret. You will never leak it. The oracle told me that the game of the year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage.
Okay.
It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves.
Yes.
They created it because it hadn't been created before.
Yes.
They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets.
Okay.
And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design.
Yes.
They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit.
This is beautiful. I love this speech. This is amazing.
And they didn't make decisions. They knew were short-sighted in function of a bonus or politics. They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow.
Yes.
They were driven by idealism and wanted players to have fun. And they realized that if the developers didn't have fun, nobody was going to have any fun. They understood the value of respect, that if they treated their developers and players well, those same developers and players would forgive them when things didn't go as planned.
Exactly. Exactly. As much as I keep beating the Mortal Kombat horse, look at what's going on with the game. It literally, they've listened to the fans. They've balanced the game out. They're working hard with content. It's like they're same with the Diablo 4 team. Like, they're doing what needs to be done, and this is why, like, this is why those games are still working.
But above all, they cared about their game because they loved games.
Yes.
It's really that simple, said the Oracle. Winning Game of the Year turned out to be a life-changing event for us. It was an amazing thing. To those who will win Game of the Year 2024, you have no idea what's waiting for you. It's an incredible honor, and you're in for a heck of a ride. Now,
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't say any better than that.
No.
Things are going to get better out of necessity, and the future is going to be full of developers that are actually passionate about games. They want their players to have the best possible experience. They're going to keep
Words are free and easy to spout off with no regard to the consequences. Let the actions, in this case games, speak for themselves now. Yep.
politics out of the games because they're divisive, and they're not going to bleed their players dry with DLC and upcharges, and hopefully the game will be complete or mostly complete when they ship it.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, he's right. It's not hard. It's really not hard to make players happy. They don't really ask for much.
No, they
and
don't.
Trust me, their expectations are on the floor.
The game, yeah. Game players, all they want is a fun, workable, playable, attractive game. And even a non-disabled player wants an accessible game at some point. And it's very simple. Let's see if Marvel Rivals has any accessibility features. These settings make you better. You can change the enemy color. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. That sucks. Yeah, it's probably not accessible. Unfortunately. We need big and bouncy booby cat girl Gundams versus German World War II simulator. I'd play that depending on the genre. That's funny. Oh my god, that's too funny. Let's see. Games activist falls from... Games journalist falls in love... Games activist falls in love with YouTuber, then sues for his attention. This is something that I wanted to look at. It's a shorter video. And it's something that I thought would be funny. So let's take a quick gander at it.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you. I'm Jarrell, and today I wanted to discuss a topic that has come up that's, I think, a little bit interesting. So, Alyssa Mercante is a gaming activist who writes articles and shares her opinions and thoughts on the internet with other people. And Smash JT is a content creator who focuses on games. And
I don't know about that one, Glitched Vision. I didn't have the
to
Xbox.
Point out issues that are in the industry to help the industry move in a better direction than it has been moving in the past few years. So what's happened is that Alyssa Mercante has filed a lawsuit against Smash JT, against Jeff.
Okay.
As a result of this, Alyssa has published Jeff's address, his home address.
She doxed him as a result of her lawsuit. That's lovely. Okay. So, what the fuck?
Or should it be allowed by understand that published Jeff's address, his home address on the internet? You can understand that that is neither legal, nor should it be allowed by any platform.
No.
And
you don't need to publish the address just because you sued somebody. That's not okay. What the fuck?
Puts Jeff's family at great risk. What's so sad about the situation is Alyssa. I don't want to say anything negative about Alyssa. I don't want anyone going and harassing or attacking Alyssa. I don't know what sort of social media she uses. I don't use it. I don't want anyone going in and bothering and harassing Jeff. But what I do see here, we've been seeing this develop for I mean, I've only been watching the situation for maybe the past year or so, but what I see is someone who is so madly, deeply in love. I don't think it has really sunk in with Alyssa that she can't be with Jeff.
That's unfortunate. So this is a straight up upset, jilted lover thing. I would say Alicia should take JT's name out of her whore mouth, but she might sue me.
But if you look at all of the events that have transpired, especially over this last year, Alyssa is so deeply obsessed and in love with Jeff. We have seen events where Alyssa has personally contacted Jeff's wife. She has tried to get Jeff's wife to divorce Jeff.
Oh my God.
Obviously to open up the relationship situations that...
That's so creepy. What the fuck? Just move on, dude. You're not gonna get him.
Alyssa can step in and she can be with Jeff. We have had Alyssa trying to get Jeff fired from his job by contacting his employer. Usually if you see a certain amount of time pass without Jeff posting any content about Alyssa, then Alyssa usually will make some sort of performative gesture so that she can get Jeff's attention, so that she can get Jeff talking about her. You might be mistaken in thinking, oh, this is someone who hates Jeff. If this was someone who hated Jeff, then she would just move on with her life.
Yeah, this is obsession. Oh, excuse me. This is obsession. This is not anything but I want you, I want you, I want you, and nobody else can have you.
Because that's what a grown adult would do, is they would say, I don't like this person, I'll just move on and I'll be happy. I'll choose to be happy. I'll focus on things in my life that would make me happy. And that's what a grown adult would do. But what we can see here is Alyssa just cannot stop obsessing over Jeff. And that's love, man. And I think that's beautiful in a way. It's so deeply sad because Jeff is the kind of guy who's very loyal to his family. And he is happily married. Yep. He has a family. You can see when he talks about his family, he's very proud of the family that he has, that he's raised.
As he should be.
And I think, in a way, I think that may upset Alyssa. I think that...
Well, yeah. If Alyssa wants him, any mention of the family that he has that doesn't have her is going to make her upset.
She's jealous of that. And it's very obvious to see that she wishes that she could be the one to be with Jeff. And that's very sad. And as a result, she has sued Jeff. And again, please don't go and attack Alyssa. This is a lady who is so madly, deeply in love that she isn't thinking straight. She's just crazy for Jeff. She's obsessed. I would not be surprised if she has one of those shrines in her house that's got the pictures and the candles.
An altar.
I mean, I'm not judging, you know.
An altar to JT, to smash JT. That's creepy and weird, and she's probably right.
Man, you know, and if that's, it's cool to have a worship shrine. It's not a big deal. I'm not attacking Alyssa Mercante for that. I don't know her personally. I've never interacted with her. I'm confident she's been using an alt account to leave me.
I think there might be a tongue very firmly pressed in the cheek of this. I think you might be right.
Harassment messages, but that's look. I'm sorry. I'm not interested.
At the moment.
And look, you're already in love with Jeff, you know, and you can't be in love with two guys. No. I think. So,
well, you could try.
Look, I think it's so sweet. I don't have anything negative to say about this situation, and I don't want to dogpile on this lady who clearly is so in love, and it's so sad because
this is hilarious.
I mean, if I could sit down with Alyssa and have a coffee and maybe like an avocado toast that cost $14, then I would say find someone who loves you, find someone who cares about you, and focus on that. Find someone who can be with you, because Jeff's taken.
Yeah, you cannot have the married man with a family, dude. That's not how this works, you home wrecker.
And I don't want to see your heart break any further, you know, but I've never had, you know, personal contact with Alyssa, and I'm not someone that's important, so I don't think that it's my place to sort of reach out to her. But unfortunately, these sort of legal fees are quite expensive, so if you guys do want to support Jeff, I'll put the link in the description, because this is the second, or I don't know, it's not the first time Alyssa has been using lawsuits to get Jeff's attention.
Oh, God.
And look, man, love is expensive.
Pathetic.
All right, I've been there. I know what it's like. Love is expensive. And
love is expensive. This guy is great. I'm going to give him a subscribe.
Like you would throw the whole world in the ocean if you can have the attention of the person that you love. Love is expensive. It's beautiful. It's frightening. It's painful. But it gives us something to feel. It gives us something to care about. And I think that if you can pursue someone you love, and if they're available, if they can be with you, then go for it. But this is a situation where it's going to be more and more expensive for Jeff. So look, if you guys believe in love, if you care about love, and
if you believe in life after love,
you know, and if you just care about other humans, you know, I'll put the link in the description if you'd like to support Jeff on this GoFundMe page. I'm not personally telling you to do that, you know, I'm just saying, if you believe in love, if you believe in something, you know, because Alyssa is moving forward with this lawsuit, she's suing Jeff, and there are legal fees. It's going to be expensive for him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything to push the issue, you know.
He hasn't done anything wrong. This is going to be dismissed as a
She's in love with him.
Lawsuit.
And I've seen Jeff's reactions. I believe Jeff is really politely trying to say, I'm sorry, Alyssa, I'm taken, I can't be with you. But love makes us do crazy things, you know? And I think it's really sweet. Anyway, thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. Please take care of yourselves, be well, and I hope you've got your holiday decorations up, because if you don't have your house decorated for Christmas, Santa will come to your house and he will get you and seek vengeance if your decorations are not up.
Well, our decorations are up, thankfully. We are ready for Christmas. The boys did a great job decorating the tree, actually. I put up a picture of me standing in front of the tree on my Twitter and on my Instagram. Money can't buy you love, but it can buy you 2 coked up sluts for an hour. Right, Alyssa? That's great. That's great, Fury. I love that. Oh my goodness. What else do we have here? We've kind of been doing more game stuff. But now we're going to switch over to a dire trip video about a murder. Because why not? And while we're watching this video, please consider going to the link in the description, the PayPal link. I want to see if somebody sends in a donation, if the Streamlabs thing will still go off. And we have the $80 stream goal to hit.
A man in his late 20s was not doing very well in the success department. He had tried moving on to become a plastic surgeon, but found himself dropping out of class after some legal trouble.
Okay.
When his parents decided to cut him off financially, he decided to make their last Thanksgiving on Earth a living hell.
Oh boy. Because that's what you do when your parents say no more. You kill them instead of trying to work on your own.
This is the story of a seemingly happy family and their final Thanksgiving dinner together. Think of it as a cautionary tale, a story that shows that you never really know what someone is planning and hiding behind a happy attitude. The father of the family was named Joel Michael Guy Sr., and he was 61 years old at the time of this story. Originally from Surgeonsville, Tennessee, he was working as a pipeline engineering designer, doing very well for himself. The mother in the family was named Lisa Guy, 55 at the time of this story. She worked as a human resources accounts payable administrator. The two had been married for 31 years ever since Joel's previous marriage ended, with those around them saying that they were perfect for each other.
31 years. Good for them. That's a good long marriage. Good long marriage. 31 years.
Joel had 3 daughters from a previous relationship. Michelle, Candace, and Angela. The 3 of them had even started having kids of their own. Together, Joel and Lisa had 1 son together in 1988, Joel Guy Jr. They basically enjoyed anything that meant that the whole family could be together, whether that was being out in nature or especially being out on the water. They were crazy about their kids and their grandkids, but they were getting up in years and decided that it was about time to retire and live the easy life. They were hoping to move into a new home in Hawkins County and live out the rest of their days in peace. Joel Jr. graduated from Hahnville High School before moving on to attend and graduate from the Louisiana School for Math, Science, and Arts in 2006.
Good for him.
He then went on to Louisiana State University, living in Baton Rouge and training to become a plastic surgeon.
Okay. That's some pretty intense work and line of study.
Before withdrawing from all of his classes and dropping out.
Oh.
However, he had never worked and was supported entirely by his family. In fact, Lisa's paycheck from her job went entirely towards supporting him, with her having very little money, if any, left over for herself.
That's a dedicated mother. That's a very dedicated mother.
Lisa really doted on Joel Jr., giving him basically anything he wanted and calling him very often while he lived on his own. While Joel Jr. was somewhat social in his childhood, by college he really only had one friend, his roommate Michael McCracken. Even then, he mostly stayed in his room and didn't communicate with anyone. Virtually everyone described Joel Jr. as a distant outsider. Aside from with his own family, he never bothered to even try to communicate with anyone else.
Well, that's not normal. At all.
Even when it came to his own family, he wasn't even a part of their group chat. His half-sisters have said that he didn't even know their kids' names.
Oh, wow.
Things weren't a whole lot better with his roommate/best friend, being that he would usually go up to 5 days without even speaking to him.
Jesus.
As Joel Jr.'s
antisocial much? This guy is just crazy, like right up there, the biggest antisocial personality
life continued to
I've
go
ever
nowhere,
heard
and
of.
his parents wanted more and more to retire. They decided that it was time to cut him off and force him into independence,
Yeah.
especially if he wasn't going to continue his schooling anymore. It had been an
Makes
ongoing
sense.
family discussion for
Most parents are like, we'll support you if you're at school, but if you're not at school, then we're not going to support you.
quite some time, and it seemed that now would be as good of a time as any to finally put it into place. They decided that they would tell Joel Jr. in person, which would likely be the next big time that anyone got together as a family, Thanksgiving of 2016. Joel Sr. and Lisa had sold their Knoxville home, planning to move out to Joel Sr.'s hometown of Surgeonsville after the move out was finished.
Okay.
On November 24th, the whole family would attend their last get-together at this home, preparing to have one last dinner there before all of the furniture was gone.
And this is probably what happened. This is probably the ending of their lives in this house.
That Thanksgiving, Joel Jr. was acting pretty differently than usual. Michelle, walking out to her car to get something, noticed something strange in Joel's vehicle. 2 large blue plastic containers in the seats. But back inside, his sisters noted that he seemed noticeably more happy and active than ever before, socializing and even offering to play with his nieces and nephews.
Weird. Why is the antisocial guy suddenly socializing with everything? Isn't that a little odd and red flaggy?
He took them to show them his old room and his old toys. Given that everything was going so well, the family debated on waiting to tell Joel Jr. that he would be cut off on Christmas instead. After Thanksgiving, the whole family went home, except for Joel Jr., who said that he wanted to stay and enjoy his time with the family for a bit longer. At the time, nobody had any reason to believe that his intentions were anything but pure.
But they weren't, because he's acting completely differently than he usually does.
Joel Jr. had been writing in a notebook behind the scenes, breaking down a list of his parents' different assets. In it, he wrote, assets, her life insurance, $500,000.
How do you know that?
With him missing/dead, I get the whole thing. All of her other assets are joint. Go to him if missing. Unknown if he is dead.
What? How does he know all of this stuff?
His assets, including all joint property if missing. When he gets all joint property, he also gets joint debt. Knoxville house. Homeowner's insurance possibly, but probably. Worthless after fire, owe $100,000. Surgeonsville house. Appraised at $400,000 plus. Her car, his SUV, not paid for. His boat, his old truck, paid for. His 401k, $80,000. He could possibly have savings and or investment accounts.
This is insane. He is breaking down everything that his parents to the point where it's like, how does he even know half of this stuff that they have?
Joel had figured that if his father was to be gone, his mother's $500,000 life insurance policy would all go to him, given that his sisters were only her older stepchildren. Upon this realization, he started to research how to facilitate this into happening himself. Researching different murders, he started to compile a list on how to commit what he felt would be the perfect crime.
Yes, write it all down. Write it all down, Joel Jr. That's the best thing to do.
On one page, he wrote, ultraviolet light shows fingerprints. Check mail before leaving. To get rid of blood, use peroxide and bleach. On another page, he wrote down the basic components of the human body, brainstorming how he might get rid of them completely. Destruction of bodies, 20% fat, 20% protein, 55% water, 5% other compounds.
Jesus Christ. This is literally just a fucking science experiment to this dude. He's got no remorse, no anything about him.
But really, it was on the next few pages that he would truly get into a more concrete plan. He began to brainstorm exactly how he would go through with the whole thing, writing a step-by-step guide for himself so that he wouldn't forget. This is where his intentions were made abundantly clear. One page included what would become a simple outline of what he intended to do and the supplies he would need to collect beforehand. Get killing knives.
Get killing knives. That's oddly specific.
Multiple. Get carving knives to make small pieces. Get sledgehammer, crush bones. Bring blender and food grinder, grind meat. Get bleach, denature proteins. Get plastic bin for denaturation process. Does not matter where they're killed. Just get rid of bloody spots to prevent evidence of time of death.
Yeah, except you're writing all of this down, my dude. This is antithetical to not getting caught.
Not the mattress or couches. Get rid of bodies inside house. There and my DNA already there. Open up doggy door to provide entryway. He needs to be blamed, not intruder.
Wait, the dog needs to be blamed? How are they gonna blame the dog?
Chunks down toilet, not garbage disposal. Get plastic sheeting for disposal process. Get hollow point bullets just in case we'll be seen buying bullets. Just use computer room gun. Check to make sure there are bullets, last resort. He's not alive to claim her half of the insurance money. All mine, $500,000. Flood the house, cover up forensic evidence.
Jesus Christ. This is so detailed, but also disjointed at the same time.
Turn up the heater as high as it goes. Speeds decomposition. Bleach reacts with luminol just like blood. Douse area with bleach. Big sprayer. Lie. Trash compactor. Body gives times of death. Alibi. Don't have to get rid of body if there is no forensic evidence on the body.
Okay, I don't know about that.
His fingerprints and DNA. The next page, though, would contain his actual plan. Here he debated on what to do, crossing out certain parts of his plan and rewriting them upon changing his mind. It's here that he really brainstormed the exact steps he would take to get his parents out of the way. First off, he planned to distract his father so that he could sneak up on him and stab him from behind.
Oh, good.
He wrote, "Minimize things I touch throughout visit. Wear gloves and socks to prevent fingerprints and footprints. Drop something down the garbage disposal to break it. Get him on the ground fixing it. Kill him with a knife."
That's oddly specific.
Clean up mess from him before she gets home.
Yeah, clean up mess from him. This guy is so just disconnected.
After his father was gone, he would move on to the next step. He planned on framing the scene as if his father had killed his mother. At first, he even planned on making it look
How if you kill your father first?
as if his father killed their dog as well. Either feeling guilty about killing a dog or realizing that it wouldn't make sense for his father to do, he changed this part of the plan, crossing out the parts about killing their dog. He wrote, "Kill her with a knife. Kill the dog." And then he crossed that out and wrote, "Take the dog with you. Place her in the shower with dog." Then crossed out the part about the dog. Turn on the hot water and pointed at her to get rid of forensics.
Okay. Does he know about the way to get rid of forensics, or is he just guessing? Like, because this feels
Remove
like...
her clothes and take them with me for disposal. Place him into plastic bin and use it to get him into upstairs bathroom. Cut off his arm and plant his flesh under her fingernails.
Oh, God.
Place her hand with his DNA so that his DNA is not washed away by the shower. After making it look as if his father had killed his mother in some sort of struggle and run away with the dog, he would then get to work on completely destroying his father's body to keep up the ruse. Writing. Use sodium hydroxide to destroy his soft tissue and soften bones for transport. Baste once every hour to accelerate. Flush sodium hydroxide down the toilet.
Jesus Christ. This poor toilet. This poor toilet is going to be seeing a lot of flushing.
Washout bin with handheld shower head and then direct handheld into toilet to wash everything out of the pipes and then into the public waterway. Douse killing rooms, kitchen, with bleach. Place hair curler on flammable paper and flammable containers of gasoline in 4 locations. His killing room, her killing room, his bathroom, her bathroom.
So he wants to set the house on fire to help get rid of any forensic evidence.
Wipe down areas near killing rooms and bathrooms. Turn heaters up to 90 degrees to melt fingerprints and dry everything.
Okay.
And then, lastly, he would need to come up with some sort of alibi before he got rid of all of the evidence. He wrote, "Set her phone to send me a text message on Sunday to prove that I was in BR and she was alive. Leave through front door and wipe down doorknobs. Timers for flammable set for Friday at 10 a.m. Sunlight masks fire, but not smoke."
Sunlight masks fire, but not... Is that even true? Some of these things I don't know.
Overnight work so they can't report it. This was an idea that Joel Jr. had been cooking up for a while now.
Apparently.
He was seen at several different stores buying all sorts of equipment over the past weeks leading up to this. On November 7th, he was seen purchasing several different items from an Ace Hardware store in Napoleonville, like muriatic acid and hydrogen peroxide. He was later spotted at Home Depot, caught on security camera footage buying some spray bleach, extension cords, and a timer. Then on November 19th, he was seen buying a knife at Academy Sports.
It's none of these things are at all suspicious at all. No. Just randomly buying chemicals and extension cords and timers. It's fine.
Finally, he was seen buying a few
It's fine.
large blue bins at a Walmart in Knoxville. All in all, Joel Jr. really had done his research. He really felt that he was doing everything right by buying his material at different stores, setting up an alibi, and coming up with a plan to frame his father. He didn't take into account that real life is nothing like TV, though, and nothing would be so simple.
And he also didn't take into account the fact that he wrote it all down.
On November 26th, Joel Jr. was still staying with his parents after his sisters and the rest of the family had left. He waited for a chance for his mom to go out and leave him alone with his dad. He would come to get that opportunity at around noon that day when Lisa went to a local Walmart to buy some groceries. Now, Joel Jr. was left alone with his father. His plan was already going to deviate from his notes. For one reason or another, he gave up on his plan of breaking the garbage disposal and sneaking up on his father that way. Instead, he pulled out a knife and chose to attack him in the workout room on the second floor of the house.
Oh. Because, let's attack him in a place that he can use stuff to defend himself.
It seems that he didn't sneak up on his father too well as a struggle took place. After flipping over the Bowflex machine, tearing the blinds off the windows, and getting blood all over the walls,
Jesus.
Joel succeeded in killing his unarmed father.
So he made a complete mess of the whole situation.
Joel Sr. would end up with 42 different injuries from the knife, with 12 of them being so intense that they carved lines into his ribs, completely severing some of them. With the damage to his lungs, liver, and kidneys, he had no chance of survival. One stab to his shoulder was so violent that a piece of the knife even broke off and remained inside his muscle tissue. Joel Jr. then got to work on his father's body. Seemingly in line with his plan to save a portion of his father's arms to frame his mother, he removed his hands at the wrist and his arms at the shoulders.
Because, of course, it would make sense that the father would be dead before the mother killed. Oh my god, this doesn't make sense.
He then removed the legs from the hip and one of his feet from his ankle. He cut off his clothes and left them in a pile in the workout room. Ready to proceed with his plan, Joel Jr. now had nothing to do but wait for his mother to come home. She did just that, entering through the front door after the previous attack. She placed the groceries on the floor near the door and began to walk up the stairs. There, Joel Jr. ambushed her, attacking her much in the way that he attacked his father. Much like Joel Sr., she was alive just long enough to be well aware that her son was killing her as she tried and failed to fight for her life.
What a lovely gentleman. Just killing your mother and father because they want you to be independent.
Lisa was stabbed 31 times in total. This time,
Jesus
21 of the
Christ.
wounds were severe, with 9 of her ribs being completely severed. While Joel Jr. had originally planned on leaving his mom's body behind, only storing his father's to make it look like he had fled, he once more deviated from that plan. He cut off his mom's clothing, removed her legs just below the knees, and removed her arms at the shoulders. He used some sort of blunt tool to completely remove her head at the neck level.
Jesus Christ, dude. This is dark. This is dark shit.
Joel Jr. took all of the pieces of his parents and began to place them into large blue containers. Here he covered them with various chemicals and left them to dissolve. For some reason, his mother's head was an exception. He took it and placed it in a pot to boil on the stove,
What the
leaving
fuck,
the stove
dude?
burning from there on out. He left his father's hands on the floor in the workout room. Not knowing what to do with the dog, he simply locked him inside of a room upstairs.
Oh, the poor dog. The dog's like seeing all of this shit. Dog's probably fucking traumatized as shit now.
What led to Joel Jr. changing his plan so much. During the battle, he suffered several cuts to his hands from his own knife, including a very deep laceration on his left thumb. He went into the guest bathroom upstairs and attempted to patch himself up with medical tape. Without much use of his hands, he decided that he would leave the scene as it was.
You just taped your hands up? Just
for now.
Okay.
He went to Walmart at 3:30 p.m. to buy some first aid supplies for his hands, including bandages and ointment. He also brought some more alcohol and hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
The next day, Joel Jr. decided to leave town entirely without putting much more work into the crime scene. He tried to clean up a bit, but it's likely that the injuries to his hands were preventing him from putting in much elbow grease now that all the adrenaline had worn off.
Probably. His hands probably, with the amount of severity that he went to work on his parents, his hands were probably messed up.
He left the dog locked up upstairs and left his parents' bodies, at least good portions of them, in the plastic tubs to deteriorate. He then placed a few space heaters down and turned up the central heating on the house before leaving. He drove back to Baton Rouge and went straight to a student clinic to have the wounds on his hands treated. When Lisa didn't show up for work and wasn't answering her phone, her boss, Jennifer Whitehead, knew something must be wrong. For one, she never missed work, and she also never made herself hard to contact. This was a first. So she called 911 and asked them to perform a welfare check on the couple.
Which is probably the best thing she ever did. Because they probably would have never
Soon
found
after,
her
a few
until the
deputies
family
went down
tried
to the home on
find her.
Goldview Lane. They noticed that the property was being sold, with a for sale sign being out in the front yard. However, a real estate lock hadn't been put in just yet. Instead, the back door lock had been placed onto the front door. Through gaps in the curtains, they could see that all the groceries were on the floor by the door. Perishable items that definitely wouldn't have been left out. When they moved to the back of the house, they could tell from the hole where the lock used to be on the back door that there was an intense heat coming from the home, along with a putrid smell.
Ugh. He turned up the heat so high that everything was probably just gross.
The police continued to knock on the front door, but there was no response. They called another detective as they tried to look through the windows and doors. They could hear a dog barking somewhere inside, and the windows felt hot to the touch. Eventually, an officer found a garage door opener in one of the cars that had been left unlocked. With that, they went inside. They called for anyone who may be inside, but continued to receive no response.
Nobody there.
They gave the inside door one more shout before heading in. They wandered around the living room, finding the place eerily quiet besides the distant howl of a dog.
Poor doggo.
They began to cough as the smell of chemicals and death overwhelmed them, with some of the officers even starting to feel lightheaded and woozy. As they looked up the stairs, they could see blood droplets on the walls and carpeting, increasing in volume each step. Then they walked up the stairs. Clearing each room, the officers began to see more blood on the walls and on the floors. One officer noticed what appeared to be some body parts on the floor at the end of the hallway. With that, the tone changed drastically very quickly. Now the welfare of the homeowner was no question. They began to speed up their search. One officer quietly began to mutter, "Hold up, oh my god," as the smell got more intense. In the exercise room upstairs, they found much more blood, with the other officers noting the previously mentioned body parts.
This was probably one of the worst crime scenes that these officers found. Like, this is horrifying.
These turned out to be a pair of hands on the floor. It was then that they had to back out. They were left with no choice but to call the forensics team before continuing. The forensics team came inside to see the chemicals spread out across the kitchen floor and tools on the table, for example, a hammer. On the stovetop was a pot with something boiling inside as the stovetop was still on.
He left the stove. I'm surprised that the stove didn't catch the house on fire. That's crazy.
Moving on, they saw a dining room with 2 guns on the table. On the wall was the thermostat, set to a high 90 degrees. They made their way up the stairs, just as the previous officers had. More chemicals and blood were seen at the top of the stairs. In the bedroom, they found more tools, chemicals, and garbage bags. Going into the master bathroom, they found the room to be completely coated in plastic with more tools lying about. A garden hose had been attached to the shower head. Further in, there were 2 large blue plastic tubs. As they walked towards them, they noticed a knife in the sink. Moving forward, they looked into the tubs, seeing a dark liquid with pieces of human body floating inside.
Ugh. Gross.
Another space heater was on the ground next to them. They then made their way into the exercise room. On the way was another bathroom, this one covered in even more blood with what appeared to be used medical tape in the shower. In the exercise room was a lot more blood, along with a flipped-over Bowflex machine and clear signs of a struggle. At the bottom of the machine, next to the treadmill, were the pair of hands. They came across a suitcase, one that it seems Joel Jr. had used to carry his murder tools. Inside the suitcase was the address for the Ace Hardware store that Joel had visited, along with a reminder to pick up some sewer line cleaner. Due to the sheer volume of biohazard material in the house, it took over 24 hours straight to process the crime scene.
Jesus, my God, 24 hours just to freaking process this whole nightmare. I hope that he got...
Eventually, the dog, still alive, was
tons
removed
of-
from the home along with the bodies of
poor
Joel Sr.
dog.
and Lisa. Finding Joel Jr.'s notebook, which also contained some of his old homework and therefore his name, there wasn't really much of a question as to who their prime suspect would
No.
be. The FBI, the Knox County Sheriff's Office, and the East Baton Rouge County Sheriff's Office all put Joel Jr. under surveillance for the time being. On November 29th, 3 days after the murder took place, they caught him leaving his apartment and getting into his car in the parking lot. It was here that they apprehended him. In his car, they found evidence that he was probably going back to continue the disposal, having an entire meat grinder in his trunk.
Oh, God. What is wrong with this dude? Is he, like, mentally ill? Just
Joel
no
Jr. was
remorse.
thrown into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison, accused of murdering both of his parents. As they booked him, they took pictures of him all over, including the injuries to his hands. Joel Jr., seemingly feeling it was all over, decided to call his roommate Michael from jail. He told Michael that he didn't have much of a chance to be happy anymore and that he should just consider him to be dead from here on out.
Oh, that sounds like foreshadowing to me.
He said that Michael would be the only aspect of his life that he would miss. He added then that his mom had paid his portion of the rent all the way out to August. Eventually, it came time for Joel Jr.'s first hearing in court ahead of his trial. The prosecutor, Leslie Nassio, stated that it was evident that the Guy family had gotten tired of paying their son's way.
Yep.
She added that it appeared that they had told him so at some point during the Thanksgiving trip after all. Joel Jr.'s defense team, including a public defender named Jonathan Harwell, didn't really have anything to save him. They didn't even deny anything that he had done. Instead, they said that the police had no right to search the home without Joel Jr.'s permission.
Oh, please. Are we really going with that argument? In the wake of everything that we just heard, are we really going with that argument?
The judge disagreed entirely, saying he did not reside and never had resided in these premises. His only connection to the property was a smattering, his word, of yearly visits. The judge said that, even if they could argue that he somehow had an expectation of privacy for his parents' house, they still had a probable cause to search the home given the circumstances anyway. Joel Jr.'s trial would proceed, set for September 28th, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of abuse of a corpse.
No kidding. Abuse of a corpse is a frickin' understatement.
Joel Jr. still pled not guilty, but also requested that he would be given the death penalty if he were convicted. Much like arguing that the police had no right to search the home, this also isn't how things work.
No.
Leslie Nassios and another prosecutor named Hector Sanchez said that it didn't matter what he wanted, they weren't going for the death penalty anyway.
No, because you don't get to escape what you've done. You have to live with it.
Instead, they were looking at life in prison with no possibility of parole for 51 years. Joel Jr. then conceded, accepting that he couldn't decide his own penalty. It wasn't clear why he went ahead and immediately requested the death penalty in the first place when he fully intended on continuing insisting that he was innocent. Many different people would come to take stand during the trial, including Joel Jr.'s sisters, who talked about his life as a loner, how he didn't even know their kids, and how different he was acting around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that would have made me really worried. If I was the sisters, I would have been like, what is going on with
Joel
my
Jr.'s
brother?
roommate Michael came to the stand as well, saying that he wasn't at all surprised that he had killed his parents, adding that he was fairly sure that he did do it.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised that he killed his parents. Yeah, he probably did it. Yeah, you're right.
The court played the call that Joel Jr. made to Michael, in which he seemed fully convinced that he was screwed and didn't seem to have any hope that he could argue his innocence. His sister, though, said that he seemed outgoing and even happy before the murders, stating, "That was not a man about to commit a homicide."
Are we sure?
Leslie Nassio said that was very likely a part of his plan. She said, "Outgoing, friendly, and happy? I bet he was. He was getting ready to get what he wanted. He wanted to deflect attention from himself. If he acted angry, how would that look when their bodies turned up later?"
That's true. That's a very good point for the prosecutor to make, because if he was all angry and argumentative, then he would be automatically thought of
Joel Jr. really wanted to keep the jurors from seeing a series of emails that he had exchanged with his father leading up to the murders. These emails showed that he had been in some sort of legal trouble at his university, and his parents had taken out a whole mortgage just to pay for his mistakes.
Holy shit.
They also showed that, in the end, he never did get his degree, something he was pretty
mortgage?
ashamed of.
They took out a whole mortgage just to pay for his fuck up. Oh my lord.
Joel Jr.'s defense presented no evidence at all on his behalf. Not only did Joel Jr. present no evidence or speak on the stand, he was even seen laughing before the various victim statements were read.
No.
Hector Sanchez told the jury, "They wanted to retire and deserve to retire.
Yeah, they
The
did.
motive is pretty apparent in this case. Money. $500,000 in life insurance proceeds. That's what this case is about." They insisted that there was no question at all that the murder was premeditated, with the notebook being a clear expression of Joel Jr.'s plans, and the security camera footage showing that he had been buying the tools and chemicals to use in the attack for weeks leading up to the crime. He ended by saying, "The proof has shown us that this began 19 days before these homicides took place. Joel Guy Jr. took care to plan these homicides. He had a plan to destroy evidence."
Yes, he did.
He then showed the jury the main reason that he failed to complete his
wrote it all
plans,
down.
the injuries to his hands. He presented the video of Joel Jr. buying the first aid at Walmart immediately after the killings. Joel Jr.'s defense tried to question the level of forensics performed on the scene, saying that more DNA testing should have been done.
How? How could more DNA testing have been done? There was literally nothing else to test.
He also reiterated that Joel Jr.'s demeanor never implied that anything was wrong leading up to the crimes. Leslie told the court, "At one point, Joel Guy Sr. had his hands on a knife he knew his son was holding. Think about that. Lisa Guy saw this boy, her only child, you heard the testimony of how much she loved him, with a knife. He's used to having her pay for everything, and he wasn't about to let them cut him off.
No.
He would rather see them dead than let that happen."
Yeah, like, look at how he listed all the assets. He did not care.
It wasn't long before the court was shown the full body cam recording of the whole grisly crime scene. The forensics team lead was able to state that they had found forensic evidence on what felt like every inch of the entire home. Needless to say, with the overwhelming volume of evidence and the complete lack of effort on the part of Joel Jr.'s team to prove that he wasn't guilty, the case was very open and shut. Joel Jr. was found guilty of his crimes, both murder and abuse of a corpse, and sentenced to serve out the rest of his life in prison. That wouldn't even be the end of the story, though, as Joel Jr. had no intention of going to jail that easily.
Of course not.
In 2023, a couple of years after his sentencing, he and his public defender decided to try and overturn his sentence.
What? Why? That's pathetic.
They
Why would
continued
that
to
even
argue
be
that
a
Joel
thing?
Jr., who was visiting all the way from Baton Rouge, had technically been a part-time resident or an overnight guest.
Oh, stop.
They said that this should have given him an expectation of privacy inside the home, meaning
Nope, probable cause still wins. Fuck off.
that the police never should have been able to enter and gather the evidence. They still did not argue that Joel Jr. hadn't committed the murders, though. The judges sided with the previous sentencing set in place, saying that Joel Jr. had failed in every way to show that he had some sort of long-term connection to his parents' home, a home that was
Good.
already sold and that they were planning to move out of anyway. He said that, while he may have indeed been invited as a guest, that particular relationship with his parents ended when he decided to kill them.
Exactly. You don't get to claim expectation of privacy as a guest in a home that you're planning on committing a murder in. That's retarded. I'm sorry.
The judges concluded by saying, even if the defendant had standing to challenge the search of the Golden View Lane residence, we agree with the state that the officer's entrance into the residence was supported by exigent circumstances.
Yep.
And with that, Joel Guy Jr.'s sentence was upheld. With that being the absolute only thing that his legal team had to get him out of this, or at least to get a retrial with much less evidence against him, they now have nothing further to use to argue his case. Joel Jr. is currently in prison at Northwest Correctional Complex in Temptonville, Tennessee, and
Good.
he's very likely going to be there for the rest of his days.
Good.
Once again, thank you for watching my video. If you found it interesting,
That's like he absolutely should be there for the rest of his days. He did a horrible thing. He did an absolutely horrible thing, and he should be there for the rest of his days. Oh my goodness, we made it through all the videos that I had pulled up. And I think what I'm going to do now is go find some food and make some coffee. And I'll be back later today with some political streaming. So thank you guys for hanging out with me for this whole stream. Sorry screen share didn't work. I'll figure it out before I go live next stream. And thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you guys later today. And thanks for watching. Have a wonderful morning. Bye.